Hello, this is Kate Packard, and I have a Life Purpose Intensive Level 1 and Level 2 Hand Analysis Training course coming up. And this is to give you a glimpse into what to expect in the 21-hour program. And I call this, how to read hands scientifically. And I am the director and the founder of the American Academy of Hand Analysis. So in the program, I want to equip you with as much information as possible in 21 hours so that you feel as confident as possible to go out into the world and to start reading hands. And you're, of course, going to start with your friends and maybe some of your family members. So this is really about having an easy and a quick way to learn how to read hands scientifically. And it's scientific because these lessons are based on decades of teaching students the art and the science of hand analysis. And so a lot of people come to the training for a lot of different reasons. Everyone learns so much about themselves. And that's why some people come to the course. And some people come and they bring their loved ones' handprints with them, and they can look at those handprints during the class. So as they are learning the material in the course, I call it the database, then they can also be looking at and learning about their loved ones. Or if you're a returning hand analyst or somebody on the journey of growing in your practice, then this is a great opportunity to revisit material that you've already covered, or maybe you've taken a class with another teacher and you'll get a glimpse into how I teach the material and have additional information presented to you. And then some people just are curious. They come and they want to explore. So there's a number of modules in the program or lessons, and you can see the whole list in the curriculum under the Academy of Handanalysis.org website curriculum. So in the first lesson of the program, I go over the hand at a glance and the basics of the hand shape. So in this video here, I'm going to talk a little bit about the steps for successful learning. I want to go over the hand at a glance with you, talk about very basic terminology in the hand, and for many of you it might not even be anything new. And it may reinforce what you already know, or it could be brand new. Then just to talk briefly about the major lines in the hands. And then we won't get as far as the hand shapes, but in another video I will talk about the 4 basic hand shapes in their elemental forms: earth, air, fire, and water, and how to recognize those hand shapes, and then how to talk to the owner about them. The hand shapes present a person's style of motivation. What motivates them? And what are they attracted to? And what really rubs them wrong? What are they distracted from? All right, so imagine, if you will, for a minute, just join me in imagining everyone having their own unique vibrational design encoded right in their hands and their fingerprint patterns. And the hands and the fingerprints undeniably identify the mental, the physical, and the spiritual blueprint of the owner. And it's all based, again, on this vibrational design that's imprinted uniquely into every single person's pair of hands. And the 2 hands are different. When deciphered correctly, and that's what you want to do, is you want to learn with a teacher so that you can decipher this information correctly and have a teacher to talk with, to ask questions directly of a person, and to have your questions answered. When the hands are deciphered correctly, the characteristics, the qualities and the strengths, the harmonies for a person, and even the discords are identified. And once they can be identified, then we can clarify them. And I really do like to talk about the challenging points that show up in a person's hand, because this is how we grow. This is like when we go to the gym, our muscles get stronger because we stress them. We want to understand where our weaknesses are so we can put focus, or at least be conscious. I don't want to put focus there now. I don't need to. I have no desire to, or I do want to put focus there. And this is where life mastery begins. Knowing ourselves is the key to life mastery. And there's no better way to know yourself than by having your hands read. Although there are a lot of modalities out there that can help you know yourself. And I encourage you to explore. Okay? So, just as doctors read the tongue to determine aspects of the human health, and the dentists read the gums in the mouth, so can a bona fide hand analyst read the character and the preferences, and most importantly, I like to say, the soul's code that's inscribed into the fingerprints. The true nature, the soul's calling of any human is secretly etched into the hands. And so if you're still listening, that means you're ready to potentially embark upon this sacred journey with me. And I really hope that you do investigate this more, because my life has been transformed immensely through this work, through teaching students, through reading hands, and through hearing how the students' lives are transformed as a result of what they learn and what they implement and what they recognize within their own life and their own family, with their mates and with their children. So palmistry has been around for thousands of years, and many speculate that palm reading began in ancient India and that it spread from there. And as you can imagine too, that as humans and cultures change, so does the makeup of and the content of the hands, and also the art of the interpretation. So there's definitely steps for successful learning how to read hands, and you are learning a new language, so it's very similar to learning any new language. You're going to see, you're going to hear about, and you're going to read hands. So you'll see the hands, you'll read about the hands in the coursework, in the database. It's 180 pages plus 50 handprints, and then you'll hear me talk about this as your teacher. And then you'll hold the hands. You'll sit in front of somebody, excuse me, and you'll hold their hands. You'll look at their hands, and then you'll talk about what you observe in the hands with your clients or your friends and your family. And they give you permission to do this. They're excited to hear what you have to say. And you give yourself permission to take your time to talk about what it is you're seeing in the hand. And you can always reference your database, the workbook that you'll be receiving in the course. So then step 3 is to gain experience. And you gain experience by examining the hands and listening. So what are you listening for? What are you listening to? Well, people will give you feedback. They'll ask you questions. And that will help you kind of, what is the answer? You'll either come up with the answer, or you can always come back to me and ask me questions. And then more importantly, what you're going to be doing is hearing. What you're going to be listening for is what you're going to be hearing. And this is known as intuiting. And you'll be sensing, you'll be seeing with your third eye, you'll be hearing in different ways, at different levels, and you'll be feeling. So there's all kinds of different ways that you'll be hearing. And then we go to step 4, which is repeating step 1 through 3 over and over and over again. And even after 13 amazing years of doing this, I am loving step 4 of repeating 1, 2, and 3 over and over and over again. So Confucius say, I see and I forget, I hear and I remember, I do and I understand. So these steps apply whether you want to learn to read your own hands, or if you plan to analyze hands professionally, which a number of students do go and do. So the best way to learn to read hands, again, is through experience, right? Just like with anything else, all forms of mastery occur through practice. Okay, so let's look at the first lesson. This is the hand at a glance. And the practice of hand analysis is based on the chirognomy, the shape of the hand, the palm, the fingers, and on chiromancy, which are the lines of the hands. And there's major lines and there's minor lines. And then, of course, we have the fingers here at a glance. And each of the fingers, Jupiter, Saturn, Apollo, and Mercury, and you can see Mars, Venus, Neptune, Moon, and Pluto here. They're all named after mythological archetypes. And we'll touch on those mythological archetypes to help you recall information in the hands. And that reduces the need to memorize. So also part of lesson 1 is the hand at a glance. So here we have the mounts and the major lines. And this is the primary landscape of the hand. This is the high level, and here we have the high level description of the fingers. Up here, Jupiter's related to vision and influence. And you can read all the way around. Saturn's related to responsibility and value, and Apollo's related to individuality and creativity. And Mercury, the messenger god, is related to communication and insight. So these are high-level descriptions here. We go into greater detail in the program. And again, they come from you know, really an ancient art and a science of hand reading. So I like to say that the mounts of the palm represent energy reservoirs of energy, like little lakes. And the higher the mount rises on your palm, the more prominent that energy will be in your life. So you can hold your hands up at eye level now, and you can look at your palm and notice which mount is tallest, or which one's fullest, which one's the most voluptuous. And it might be your Venus mount, the ball of your thumb. It could be Mars. It could be the moon. And so one of them is going to be most likely the tallest. And as you learn more about the meaning of those particular areas, then you will identify with that characteristic that really can play to your benefit in life. Okay, that's energy that you have immediate access to. So then you will be introduced to an expanded yet simple vocabulary as you continue with the course of all those mounts and the fingers. And then the major lines are also identified, of course, the heart line, the head line, and the lifeline. And these are the major lines in the hand. You can see the heart line here, the head line, and the lifeline. And we use these energies all the time. They represent rivers of consciousness, and they relate to very, very particular, often used areas of our life. And they reflect how and where you connect with the world. So, for example, the heart line represents your love style and your emotional preferences. It really literally represents your non-negotiable love requirements. And it is associated with the element of water. And water rules the feelings. And we know that emotions ebb and flow like water. So the more we learn and understand about our heart line style, then we can understand how we ebb and flow. The headline represents your thinking system, your mental system, and it's associated with the element of air, which rules the mental process. And as information flows through the air, this is what's going on with the headline. This is headline information flowing through the air, so in a sense, on our palm. And the lifeline corresponds to the body's vitality system, and it's associated with the element of earth, which is associated with productivity. So here I just showed a different little way of identifying each of the major lines with the system, emotional thinking and vitality, and the element that governs that particular major line in the hand. So the lines indicate the perceptions, the inclination, the preferences, and the character of the owner in their respective systems. So the more deeply a line is carved in the hand, the more powerful the disposition and the tendencies related to that system is in that person, and it's going to show up in their life. The shallower the lines are, the more difficult they are to see. That illustrates less inclination to the associated line in the hand. And the same goes for the mounts as well, and the fingers. So we'll just look here at one more lesson. We can look at the three worlds of palmistry. So we want to take the hand as a whole. So we include the fingers in this. And the hand is divided into thirds. So the fingers represent the top, the upper part of the palm represents the middle, and the bottom part of the palm represents the bottom. So, for example, if the hand has long fingers, sometimes you'll look at people on TV or in movies and they have really long fingers. And so then that zone, or that world, if you will, the upper world, will be more prominent than the other worlds. Okay, and that's about attention to detail. Okay, and then the middle world is the area where the head and the heart line are, and this is the area of our practical everyday affairs, right? Okay, and then this is the practical realm. In the bottom, the palm, in the bottom of the palm we have the earthly plane, and this is the area of our senses, our body senses. And we have Venus, the symbol of Venus here with the circle and the cross, and the moon, which is our instinctual zone. So sometimes you'll look at hands, and you can look at your own right now, and this could be really full. Okay, and so then a person is really prone to bring forward in their life and have habit patterns associated with those fuller areas. Okay, and then if there's weakness in particular areas, this denotes, in my language, a potential area for development. So we have, again, this is another way to look at this information. The top, the upper world, is related to concepts, the abstract, the esoteric, and which is related to spirit. And then we have the middle world, which is our affairs of every day, our practicalities, balancing our checkbook, going to the grocery store. And all of these things are influenced by our emotions. And then we have the bottom world, the physical world, the body, the instincts. So again, if you look at, you can hold your own hands up in the air and see if your fingers are really eye-catching, or is the bottom of the world, the bottom world, more eye-catching, or the middle of the world. And sometimes, you know, this is why practice is important. Your eye is brand new at looking at this, so we get practice together. Okay, and one last chart here on the three worlds that relate to the fingers. So we have, each of the fingers has a first knot and a second knot. Each of the fingers has three worlds, the sections. We have the upper section of each finger has concepts and abstract relations. And then the middle world is practicalities, and the lower world is the physical. And so again, we have upper, middle, and lower. And then we can say each of the sections or each zone of the finger is the flange or the phalanx. And I like to teach some of the terminology in class since you are becoming a scientific hand analyst. So if you are interested, you can go to the website again and send me a note on the contacts form, or go ahead and email Packard, Packard .kkay@gmail.com. And thank you so much. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Bye-bye.